What if the secrets of Czech history aren't buried in forgotten texts, but hidden deep within the very earth beneath our feet, as ancient whispers stir the air? Could the truth about our past be far closer and far stranger than we ever imagined? Prague, a city whose cobblestone streets echo with the whispers of centuries, is steeped in secrets. Beneath its medieval architecture and within the ancient walls of its castles, something older than recorded history seems to pulse quietly, waiting to be uncovered. The city's history is a tapestry woven from the threads of forgotten civilizations, where every corner holds a story, and every shadow hints at something unseen. Could these legends, these quiet murmurs from the past, be more than just myths? Could they be the remnants of ancient beings, or clues left behind by a civilization far beyond the understanding of those who now walk its streets? For centuries, Prague has been a crossroads of cultures and powers. It was once the seat of kings, emperors, and alchemists, and each ruler left their mark on the city in ways that still baffle historians. Among the grand structures and palaces lie traces of the inexplicable hidden symbols, unexplainable events, and artifacts that don't quite fit into the historical record. Was Prague's history shaped solely by human hands, or could there be forces at play that we've long forgotten? The city's most iconic landmark, Prague Castle, stands as a silent witness to this mystery. Built over 1,000 years ago, it has housed kings, emperors, and even religious relics. Yet, there are whispers of chambers deep within the castle that were sealed off centuries ago, left untouched and forgotten. Some claim that what lies within these chambers is not just part of Prague's history, but of something much older. Could the castle itself be built upon the ruins of a long-lost civilization, its foundations entwined with secrets that have been buried for millennia? Venture out into the streets of Prague, and the legends intensify. The old town square, for example, has been a site of strange occurrences for centuries. During the 17th century, the residents of Prague reported inexplicable phenomena, strange lights in the sky, eerie sounds that seemed to come from nowhere, and figures seen in the shadows of its ancient buildings. Could these be the lingering echoes of something long lost, or perhaps a reminder of Prague's connection to forces that remain unseen by modern eyes? And then there is the famous astronomical clock, an engineering marvel that has captured the imagination of people for centuries. It's more than just a timepiece. Some believe it is a key to unlocking Prague's most profound mysteries. The clock's intricate design is said to encode hidden knowledge, its movements believed to be a reflection of an ancient understanding of the cosmos. Could this clock, still ticking away after more than 600 years, be a relic of a forgotten people who once ruled the heavens as much as they did the earth? Prague is a city of mysteries where every stone, every corner, every monument could hold a secret waiting to be discovered. But the question remains, are these secrets part of our history, or are they part of something much older, a legacy we have long since forgotten? One thing is certain: the city is more than it seems, and those who take the time to listen carefully may begin to hear the voices of the past calling out, reminding us that some mysteries are meant to remain hidden, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered once again. Nestled along the peaceful Sazava River, the Sazava Monastery stands as a testament to the spiritual and cultural evolution of the Czech lands. Founded in the 11th century, it became a beacon of learning, art, and religion. But as the centuries passed, the monastery's once tranquil halls grew heavy with a sense of unease. For as long as locals could remember, tales of phantom monks, lost to time and history, would drift on the wind, weaving through the ivy-clad stone walls. Some say that at night, if you listen closely, you can still hear the faint sound of chanting, a song once sung by those who mysteriously vanished. It is said that on a dark night, long after the last light of the day had receded, a figure would appear on the riverbank clad in the tattered brown robes of an ancient monk. He would walk with a sense of urgency, his footsteps barely audible as he passed through the monastery's gates, forever destined to return to his place within the monastery's hidden depths. But when the monks of Sazava were asked about the stories, none could offer any clear answers. Their records, if they even still existed, were vague at best, and the monastery's leaders, both past and present, dismissed the tales as local folklore. The more one delves into the history of the Sazava monastery, the more one realizes that the real story is buried beneath layers of secrecy. In the early years of its existence, the monastery flourished, attracting pilgrims from far and wide. But by the 13th century, it faced a sudden and unexpected decline. The monks, once vibrant and committed to the faith, seemed to disappear into thin air. What happened to them? Some historians suggest that political tensions in the region, fueled by the rising power of the Czech kings, might have played a part. Was the monastery a victim of an unseen force? Perhaps a royal conspiracy designed to silence those who resisted the king's influence? Or were the monks themselves complicit in something darker, their sudden departure a sign of a rebellion that would never come to light? The legends of the monastery take on an even more mysterious hue when considering the cryptic carvings found within its walls. Symbols, both foreign and ancient, are etched into the stone, leaving a mark of something far older than the monastery itself. Could these symbols be a clue to the monks' disappearance? Some believe the carvings were left by a group of monks who were forced to leave, their fate sealed by the knowledge they uncovered. Knowledge that, perhaps, was never meant to be shared. As the years have passed, the monastery's spirits have become a fixture of local lore, each ghostly monk another page in an unfinished story. Whether the spirits of these monks are trapped in the monastery by some supernatural force, or if their disappearance was simply the result of a tangled political conspiracy, the Sazava monastery remains a place of unresolved mystery. The truth may never be known, but the whispers, the shadows, and the faint sounds of chanting will forever haunt the walls, as if waiting for someone to finally uncover what happened all those years ago. The Battle of White Mountain, fought in 1620, just outside Prague, marked a decisive turning point in Czech history. Yet the events surrounding it remained shrouded in mystery. A conflict that would see the Catholic Habsburgs secure their rule over the Bohemian lands. It was also a moment of unimaginable loss for the Protestant forces that stood against them. The aftermath of the battle, however, would take a darker turn, as some claim the skies above the battlefield bore witness to strange phenomena, their origins uncertain, but their impact undeniable. On the morning of November 8, 1620, as the two armies assembled on the slopes of White Mountain, the air was thick with tension. The Catholic forces, led by Emperor Ferdinand II's generals, sought to solidify Habsburg dominance, while the Protestant Bohemian Confederation, supported by a mix of mercenaries, fought desperately to retain their autonomy. As the first shots rang out, a storm of blood and steel overtook the battlefield, and the outcome was swift. Within hours, the Protestants were crushed, their leaders fleeing into exile or facing execution. But as the battle raged, something strange was said to have unfolded in the sky above the battlefield. Witnesses, both soldiers and onlookers, spoke of a strange glow appearing over the horizon as the conflict reached its peak. Some described it as an eerie red light, others as a series of flickering orbs that danced above the clouds, moving erratically across the sky. Soldiers, caught in the chaos, swore that the lights seemed to follow the movement of the armies, casting an unnatural hue upon the land. The phenomenon didn't cease after the battle had ended. In the days that followed, reports continued to surface of strange lights flickering across the sky, seen by both locals and those who had survived the battle. Some said the lights lingered in the distance, watching over the fallen soldiers as if the heavens themselves had cast judgment upon the land. For many, these eerie sightings were more than a mere coincidence. Were they a celestial warning, a sign of divine intervention, or something far more otherworldly? In the wake of the battle, the Habsburgs solidified their control over the Bohemian lands, imposing harsh Catholic rule upon a once proud Protestant population. Yet even as the political landscape changed, the memory of the strange lights lingered in the hearts of the people. Some began to speculate that the strange celestial events had somehow influenced the outcome, a supernatural force tipping the scales in favor of the Habsburgs. Was it possible that the battle was not just a turning point in history, but also a moment in which otherworldly forces intervened, shaping the future of the Czech lands in ways that went beyond the reach of men? The truth remains elusive, with no conclusive evidence to explain the phenomenon. Yet the strange lights of White Mountain continue to haunt the memory of that fateful day, leaving one to wonder if the forces that shaped the course of history were truly of this world. The crown jewels of Bohemia, once symbols of immense power and royal grandeur, have long been the subject of mystery and superstition. Passed down through generations, the jewels were said to carry not only the weight of the kingdom, but also a deadly curse that seemed to plague every monarch who held them. Each ruler who wore the crown or possessed the jewels found themselves bound to a fate far more tragic than fortune could predict. Was this the result of superstition, or was there a darker, unseen force at play? The crown jewels were crafted in the early 14th century, during the reign of Charles IV, and were meant to symbolize the divine right of the monarch to rule the lands of Bohemia. The jewels included the imperial crown, scepters, and other pieces adorned with gold, precious gems, and religious significance. For centuries, they were the pride of the Bohemian monarchy, representing not just the power of the rulers but the very soul of the kingdom itself. Yet from the moment they were forged, strange occurrences began to follow the jewels. Kings who were once blessed with prosperity seemed to find their reigns cut short by tragic ends. Wenceslaus II, the king who first inherited the jewels, was found dead under mysterious circumstances, his sudden and unexplained demise leaving the throne vulnerable to infighting. The next monarch, Charles IV's own son, Wenceslaus IV, faced constant unrest and eventual deposition, his reign crumbling under the weight of his supposed mismanagement and personal failings. As the centuries went on, the curse continued to cast its shadow over the throne. The Habsburgs, who came to rule Bohemia, were no strangers to misfortune either. In 1741, the jewels were temporarily lost during the turmoil of war, only to be recovered under mysterious circumstances. Yet, the same year, Maria Theresa, the Empress of Bohemia, faced an intense military threat, almost losing her kingdom to foreign powers. Each ruler who possessed the jewels seemed to meet an untimely and often violent fate, whether through political betrayal, military defeat, or personal tragedy. By the time the jewels were finally placed in the care of the Czech National Museum in the 19th century, their legacy of doom had become undeniable in the eyes of many. Was it the jewels themselves, imbued with some ancient curse, that led their possessors to ruin? Or was it simply a matter of coincidence, an unfortunate chain of events tied to the immense pressures of power and leadership? To this day, the crown jewels of Bohemia remain an object of fascination and trepidation. Those who study them closely cannot deny the eerie pattern of destruction and death that seems to follow the monarchy's most prized possession. Whether the curse is a mere myth or the lingering presence of something far darker, the story of the Bohemian crown jewels remains one of the most enduring mysteries in Czech history, a reminder of how power, superstition, and fate can intertwine in the most unexpected of ways. The Golem of Prague, a creature brought to life through ancient Kabbalistic rituals, has long been one of the most enduring mysteries in Czech folklore. Created by Rabbi Judah Loew, the golem was intended to protect the Jewish community from harm, guarding the streets of Prague during a time of growing unrest and danger. Towering and made of clay, It was brought to life with mystical words, becoming a force of strength and protection for the people it was meant to serve. But despite its seemingly benevolent purpose, the golem mysteriously disappeared without a trace, and its fate has been the subject of countless theories and speculation. The golem's origins are shrouded in legend, with many believing that Rabbi Lo used his deep knowledge of the ancient Jewish texts, particularly the Sefer Yetzirah, to animate the creature. The golem was said to be an obedient servant, carrying out the rabbi's orders without question, performing tasks that ranged from protecting the community to assisting with the burdens of everyday life. However, as the creature grew in strength and stature, it began to take on a more ominous presence. Some stories suggest that the golem's power was uncontrollable, becoming an almost uncontrollable force, driven by its own instincts. The most famous tale of the golem's eventual disappearance centers around the creature's uncontrollable nature. According to the legend, Rabbi Lo, realizing that the golem had become too powerful to control, ordered it to stop. But the golem, now imbued with its own sense of autonomy, refused to listen. Fearing it would turn against its creators, the rabbi performed a final ritual to deanimate the creature, removing the Shem, the sacred word, from its forehead that had brought it to life. But whether the golem was truly destroyed or simply hidden away in a secret location remains uncertain. Some believe that Rabbi Lo hid the golem away in the attic of the Old New Synagogue in Prague, where it lies dormant, waiting to be awakened in a time of great need. Others think that the creature was destroyed, its form disintegrating into dust after its final deactivation. Still, there are those who speculate that the golem may have escaped entirely, slipping away into the shadows of the city, hidden from view, and waiting for the right moment to reappear. The disappearance of the golem has become a part of Prague's rich folklore, intertwined with the city's mystical and historical legacy. To this day, the legend persists, and visitors to Prague are often told stories of the golem, its supposed resting place, and the possibility that it could return if the city ever finds itself in peril again. But whether the golem was hidden, destroyed, or simply faded into myth, its true fate remains one of Prague's most enduring mysteries. A creation of man's deepest desires and fears, it is a reminder of how even the most powerful of protectors can vanish, leaving only traces of their existence in the stories passed down through the ages. In the summer of 1972, the tranquil skies of Moravia, a region known for its lush fields and rolling hills, became the stage for a wave of strange, unexplainable phenomena that would captivate the imaginations of locals and draw the attention of authorities. The events, now collectively known as the UFO sightings over Moravia, remain one of the most puzzling chapters in Czech history. What began as sporadic sightings soon escalated into an almost daily occurrence, with many describing similar strange lights and mysterious shapes moving across the sky. Reports varied, but common threads wove through the stories. Witnesses spoke of bright, pulsating lights, often described as moving erratically or hovering in place for long periods before darting off at impossible speeds. These lights would appear in the late evenings, sometimes near local villages, at other times over vast, uninhabited fields. The objects were too high to be identified as conventional aircraft, yet too close and erratic to be dismissed as distant stars or meteors. Several accounts even suggested that the lights seemed to be aware of human presence, reacting by shifting their movements when people tried to get closer. As the sightings continued, local authorities began to investigate. The Czech military, typically reticent about such matters, was reported to have sent teams to the region to assess the phenomenon. Yet, despite their efforts, they too found no answers, no traces of conventional aircraft, no meteorological or astronomical anomalies, and no sign of any military experiments. The airwaves were silent, and no aircraft of any kind had been authorized to fly in the area. Even more curiously, several independent observers, including amateur astronomers and civilians with little to gain from exaggeration, reported seeing similar lights at the same time, ruling out the possibility of hoaxes or mass hysteria. Many of the witnesses were farmers who found themselves not just witnessing strange occurrences but also experiencing inexplicable disturbances in their daily lives. Some noted unusual electromagnetic interference, with radios and televisions malfunctioning during the sightings. Others claimed that the livestock seemed agitated, often bolting from the fields or acting strangely in the hours leading up to and following the appearances. These eerie coincidences only fueled the speculation that the events in the sky were far from ordinary. Theories about the origins of these strange lights range from the plausible to the extraordinary. Some suggested that the sightings were connected to secret military experiments, possibly involving advanced aircraft or undisclosed technology. However, others believed the lights were remnants of long-lost technologies from ancient civilizations, perhaps even extraterrestrial in nature. Could these visitors be relics of a forgotten era, or was there something more otherworldly at play? What remains most baffling about the events of the summer of '72 is the sheer persistence of the sightings and the unanswered questions they left behind. As the sightings eventually tapered off, no definitive explanation emerged, and the mystery of the UFOs over Moravia lingered. To this day, many still consider it one of the most enigmatic chapters in Czech history, a reminder of how some phenomena remain stubbornly beyond the grasp of conventional understanding. Whether they were extraterrestrial visitors or something far older, the events of that summer continue to stir the curiosity of those who look to the skies above Moravia. Deep within the dense, shadowy expanse of Blansko forest, stories of an elusive creature have been passed down through generations. Known only as the Beast of Blansko, this figure remains a spectral enigma, a creature that is neither entirely human nor fully animal. Over the centuries, the whispers about its presence have grown, with sightings continuing to this day, fueling the mystery of its true nature. The earliest known accounts of the beast trace back to the 16th century, when villagers first spoke of strange, unidentifiable figures lurking within the forest. Descriptions varied, with some claiming the creature had the body of a man, but the head of an animal, while others spoke of an enormous, shadowy figure that moved in ways no human or animal could. Its eyes, many said, glowed with an eerie light, and its movements were unnaturally swift, vanishing into the thick underbrush before anyone could get a clear look. As time passed, more reports emerged, all painting a similar picture, an intimidating presence that seemed to know when it was being watched, always just out of reach. Locals spoke of unsettling encounters, hunters who ventured too far into the forest and came back with stories of feeling watched or of hearing unnatural sounds echoing through the trees. Some claimed to have found footprints large and oddly shaped pressed into the earth, too large for any known animal. Farmers would find their livestock disturbed or even gone entirely, with no sign of struggle, as if they had vanished into thin air. Despite many attempts, no one has ever managed to capture or even clearly identify the beast, and those who have encountered it speak of a deep sense of dread, as if the creature were not merely an animal but something darker, older, and otherworldly. For some, the beast represents more than a mere cryptid. It has become a symbol of the forest's ancient, untamable spirit. Perhaps, they say, the creature is a guardian, a protector of the woods that has existed long before human eyes first gazed upon the forest. Theories abound about the beast's true nature. Some claim it's a remnant of ancient folklore, a creature born of the dark, unknown past of the Czech lands, tied to the land's pagan traditions. Others believe the creature is supernatural, an entity that has somehow managed to exist outside the realm of the natural world, slipping between the veils of reality. Could the beast be a ghost of the forest, a lost soul condemned to wander eternally, or perhaps a being from another time, another dimension, left behind by some forgotten civilization? As much as the creature is feared, it is also respected. In Blansko, where the forest remains as wild and untamed as it was centuries ago, the beast serves as a reminder of the mysterious and primal forces that still linger in the world, hidden in places that time has yet to touch. Whether it is a natural creature or something far more mysterious, the beast of Blansko Forest remains an enduring enigma, its true nature lost to the shadows, just beyond the reach of human understanding. In the small town of Kladno, nestled amidst the Czech countryside, an unsettling chapter of history unfolded during the late medieval period. A series of witch trials, marked by strange and unexplained occurrences, gripped the town in terror. The trials, which seemed to begin without warning, escalated quickly, turning neighbor against neighbor and invoking the darkest fears of the age. Yet, just as suddenly as they began, they ceased, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and a lingering sense of unease. It all started in the winter of 1470, when rumors began to spread through the tight-knit community of Kladno. Whispers of strange gatherings in the woods, mysterious symbols etched into the ground, and unexplainable lights in the sky soon gave rise to the suspicion that witchcraft had taken root in the town. At the time, witch hunts were becoming increasingly common across Europe, fueled by superstitions and the belief that malevolent forces lurked in the shadows of everyday life. The people of Kladno were no strangers to fear, but this wave of paranoia seemed different, as if something darker and more ancient had stirred. As accusations mounted, the trials began in earnest. Women, mostly elderly or isolated figures in the community, were dragged before the town's leaders and subjected to brutal interrogations. Their confessions, often extracted through violence or threats, were framed by tales of pacts with dark forces, and soon the entire town became consumed by the hunt for witches. However, the trials were marked by a peculiar intensity. Witnesses reported hearing strange, unearthly sounds during the nights leading up to the executions, sounds that were said to echo from the very earth beneath their feet. Some claimed they saw flickering lights in the sky, as if something were observing the trials from above. The air in Kladno grew thick with fear, as though an invisible presence was watching, waiting. Then, as abruptly as they had begun, the trials stopped. No more women were accused, no more executions followed. The townspeople, bewildered and exhausted by the months of terror, were left with no answers. What had caused the trials to escalate so quickly and then end just as mysteriously? The abruptness of it all led some to believe that the trials had, in fact, triggered something far beyond the mortal realm. Was it possible that an ancient portal had been opened, one that allowed otherworldly forces to enter the town during the fevered madness of the witch hunts? Could the strange lights and sounds be evidence of something far more sinister than witchcraft? Over time, the memory of the trials faded, but the stories did not. Some believed that the trials had unleashed an evil force, one that continued to haunt Kladno, hidden from the eyes of those who dared to speak of it. Others wondered if the town had become an inadvertent focal point for something ancient, a place where the veil between worlds had been thinned. Though no definitive answers were ever found, the legacy of the Kladno witch trials remains one of the most haunting mysteries of the Czech countryside, a chilling reminder that some forces, both human and supernatural, are best left undisturbed. Nestled along the Vltava River, Český Krumlov is a town that seems to exist in two realms, one of charming cobblestone streets, meandering riverbanks, and medieval buildings. The other, a more ethereal world where time doesn't always move forward as we expect. Though known for its beauty and history, the town is also a place where ghostly apparitions are said to have lingered for centuries. To some, these spectral figures are little more than the stuff of local legends. To others, they are all too real. The most commonly cited apparitions are believed to be the spirits of the town's former residents, those whose lives were intricately tied to the region's rich history. Many of these sightings are said to take place around the Český Krumlov Castle, a majestic fortress that looms above the town. It is here that tales of the ghostly nobility first take root. One of the most famous sightings involves the spirit of a long-dead royal, a woman who once roamed the castle halls centuries ago. Eyewitnesses claim to have seen her wandering through the castle corridors, draped in regal attire, her face obscured by a veil. Sometimes, she is said to vanish as quickly as she appears, leaving behind only a lingering chill in the air. But the royal spirits are not the only ones who are said to haunt Český Krumlov. The town, with its tumultuous history, is also home to more humble apparitions. Tourists and locals have reported encountering ghostly peasants in the town's ancient streets, their faces twisted in expressions of sorrow. These figures are often seen in the early hours of the morning, shuffling silently along the narrow alleys, their forms barely visible in the mist. One particularly chilling account comes from a group of visitors who claim to have seen a figure in tattered clothing, walking aimlessly near the town's medieval bridge before it disappeared into thin air. The figure's expression was said to be one of immense grief, as though it carried the weight of a forgotten tragedy. Perhaps the most unnerving aspect of these sightings is not the apparitions themselves, but the sense that they are not confined to the past. Locals have long whispered that the spirits of Český Krumlov are not mere echoes of bygone eras, but active participants in the town's present. Some claim to hear footsteps in the halls of the castle, only to find no one there when they turn a corner. Others have experienced the sensation of being watched, particularly on the quieter, darker streets of the town after nightfall. It is easy to dismiss these stories as superstition, or as the product of a town steeped in centuries of history. But for those who have witnessed the apparitions, the veil between this world and the next seems unnervingly thin in Český Krumlov. Whether they are royal spirits, lost souls, or lingering memories, one thing is certain. The ghosts of Český Krumlov have not left. They remain woven into the fabric of the town, watching silently as the world moves on around them. On mist-covered nights, when the waters of Lake Lipno become still and the fog rolls in thick enough to blur the horizon, a strange and haunting figure emerges from the depths. It is a ship, silent and spectral, drifting slowly across the lake. Its sails, tattered and ghostly white, billow in an unseen wind. The crew aboard is said to be nothing more than shadows, their faces obscured by time, their movements unsettlingly slow. No one knows its name or where it comes from, but for centuries, locals have whispered of the phantom ship that haunts the lake under the right conditions. The first known accounts of the ghostly ship date back to the 16th century, when villagers along the shores of Lake Lipno began noticing the eerie vessel, appearing only on foggy nights and always vanishing before the dawn. Its appearances were so regular that some began to fear it as an omen. Some believed it was the harbinger of death, a symbol of doom that marked the coming of a great tragedy or misfortune. Others saw it as a reminder of ancient maritime rituals, passed down through generations but lost to time. Was the ship a relic from an ancient sea culture, a vessel tied to forgotten rites that once ruled the waters? Some villagers even claimed that the ship was a lost soul, cursed to wander the lake forever, its crew forever bound to the mist. But what is the true story behind the phantom ship? Some have theorized that it may have once been a real vessel, a trading ship that met a violent end on the lake. According to these theories, a tragic accident or mutiny claimed the lives of the crew, and their restless spirits continue to sail the waters to this day, unable to find peace. The ship's silence, so stark against the backdrop of the surrounding wilderness, is said to reflect the calmness before an impending storm, an unnatural stillness that strikes fear into those who witness it. Others believe the appearance of the ship is a manifestation of a deeper mystery tied to the ancient rituals once performed on the lake. The area around Lake Lipno was, long before it became a popular tourist destination, a sacred space for rituals and ceremonies that honored the water gods. Could the ship be a manifestation of these ancient rites? A vessel sent from the past to remind modern-day residents of the power and the reverence once bestowed upon the lake? The ghostly crew, some say, may not be the souls of lost sailors, but rather the guardians of an old power that refuses to die, lingering in the shadows of the fog. Whatever its origins, the phantom ship has become an inseparable part of Lake Lipno's folklore. Witnesses, few in number and often skeptical, report feeling a deep sense of dread when they spot the ship. It is as though the mist itself has a weight, pressing in from all sides, and the silent ship becomes more than just a haunting apparition. It becomes a symbol of something ancient and untold, a part of the lake's dark and mysterious heart that refuses to be forgotten. Terezin, once a fortress town turned ghetto during World War II, stands as a haunting testament to the suffering and resilience of those who passed through its gates. Known for its role in the Nazi regime's plan to deceive the world about the fate of the Jewish people, Terezin housed thousands of innocent men, women, and children, many of whom were transported to death camps. It is said that, even today, the spirits of those who perished within the walls of this grim place remain, their presence a silent witness to the atrocities committed there. Locals and visitors alike speak of unsettling encounters when wandering the streets of Terezin. The air is thick with an eerie quiet, broken only by the distant sound of wind or footsteps on the cobbled streets. Yet, for those who listen closely, a strange tension seems to linger. Whispers float through the town, as though the very ground holds memories too painful to forget. People report strange feelings of being watched, an unnerving sensation that something or someone has never truly left. In the darkened cells of the old fortifications, where prisoners once languished in overcrowded conditions, the temperature drops inexplicably, and a faint sound of muffled voices can sometimes be heard. Some believe these are the voices of the lost souls who never made it out of Terezin, their final moments spent in fear and despair. The cold, they say, is the chill of their spirits lingering in the shadows, unable to find peace. On quiet nights, when the fog settles over the town and the moon casts its pale light on the crumbling buildings, there are reports of shadowy figures moving within the streets. Witnesses have described seeing figures who appear to be from another time, men in tattered clothes, women carrying baskets, children holding hands. These apparitions seem to wander aimlessly, trapped in a perpetual cycle of their final days. Some believe these figures are the spirits of those who once lived in the ghetto, forever bound to the place where they suffered. Others suggest that Terezin's haunting presence is not merely the result of its history, but a deeper, more spiritual connection to the land, which absorbed the anguish of its past. The ghostly sightings are not confined to the town's buildings alone. The nearby cemetery, where many victims of Terezin are buried, is also a place of eerie activity. Visitors have reported hearing the faint sound of sobbing or the rustle of footsteps on the gravel paths, yet when they turn, there is nothing to be seen. Some have even claimed to feel a sense of cold fingers brushing their skin, as though the spirits are trying to reach out, to communicate. Terezin stands as a silent memorial to the horrors of the Holocaust, but for many, it is also a place where the past refuses to be forgotten. The souls of those who perished there seem to remain, watching, waiting, and bearing witness to the horrors they endured. It is as though the spirits of Terezin are caught in time, unwilling or unable to leave, forever tied to the place that bore witness to their suffering. The town's quiet, unspoken history is one that lingers in the air, waiting for those who dare to listen. Beneath the cobbled streets of Prague, an ancient network of tunnels stretches through the earth, hidden from view by centuries of history. These tunnels, some of which are believed to predate the city itself, have long been the subject of intrigue and speculation. Few people know of their existence, but the whispers that surround them speak of secrets buried deep beneath Prague's bustling streets, secrets that have remained concealed for hundreds, if not thousands. The tunnels, which wind their way through the very foundations of the city, have been used for many purposes over the centuries. Some were likely carved out for practical reasons: underground passages for merchants, escape routes for kings, or hidden vaults for the city's most precious treasures. But there are those who believe that these tunnels have a far deeper, more mysterious purpose. Some say they were constructed long before the founding of Prague itself, possibly by civilizations lost to time. Others suggest that they could be ancient portals, connecting Prague to realms beyond our understanding. For years, a sense of unease has surrounded the tunnels. Locals tell tales of strange occurrences in and around the entrances to the underground labyrinth. People have reported hearing whispers in the darkness, voices that seem to echo from far away. Some say they've seen shadows flitting across the tunnel's walls, moving too quickly to be human. And then there are the few who claim to have ventured into the depths of the tunnels, only to be overtaken by an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the very walls were alive and watching them. As mysterious as the tunnels themselves is the history of those who have sought to uncover their secrets. In the early 20th century, a series of expeditions was launched to explore the labyrinthine depths beneath the city. Despite their best efforts, many of these explorations ended abruptly. Some explorers simply disappeared without a trace, while others returned with stories of seeing things they could never explain: ancient symbols etched into the walls, strange carvings that seemed to shift when viewed from different angles, and cryptic messages that defied logic. Some say that the tunnels contained forgotten artifacts, hidden from the world by those who knew of their power. Could these tunnels be home to a long-lost civilization, their knowledge preserved in the shadows of the earth? And if so, what do these ancient beings, whether human or something else, want? Others believe that the tunnels are a gateway to something darker, a realm that is not meant for human eyes. Despite these mysterious accounts, much of the underground network remains sealed off, its entrance guarded by both the city's authorities and the passage of time. Yet, there are still those who continue to search, drawn by the allure of the unknown and the secrets that lie hidden beneath Prague. For some, the tunnels represent a path to an ancient mystery that will one day be uncovered. For others, the tunnels are best left undisturbed, a place where the past is better left forgotten. Whatever the truth may be, the legend of the hidden tunnels beneath Prague endures, a story of forgotten realms and ancient secrets waiting to be discovered. As the Velvet Revolution unfolded in 1989, a time of peaceful protest and political change, the streets of Prague were filled with hope, passion, and the promise of a new beginning. Yet, amidst the fervor of those historic days, something peculiar was happening in the skies above. Protesters and onlookers alike began reporting strange lights, shimmering orbs that hovered silently in the air or darted across the horizon with inexplicable speed. These sightings, though fleeting, were not isolated incidents. Witnesses from all walks of life shared similar accounts of the lights, which often appeared during key moments of the revolution. Some claimed they saw them just before major gatherings in Wenceslas Square, while others reported seeing them above the crowds during the largest protests. The lights, described as bright orbs or elongated streaks, would often hover motionless for moments, only to disappear just as quickly as they had appeared. At first, many dismissed the strange lights as nothing more than a product of overactive imaginations, born from the excitement and anticipation of change. Some attributed them to mundane explanations, like aircraft or even experimental military technology. However, as more and more reports surfaced, questions began to arise. Were these strange phenomena simply coincidences, or did they hold some deeper significance? For some, The lights seemed to serve as a guiding force, a reassuring presence in the midst of uncertainty. There were those who believed the lights were not of earthly origin at all. Could they have been an otherworldly manifestation of hope, sent to guide the protesters toward victory? The symbolism was not lost on many. In a time when the struggle for freedom seemed endless and daunting, these mysterious lights might have been seen as a divine or cosmic intervention, an unseen hand that gently nudged the revolution toward its peaceful conclusion. As the revolution reached its climax and the communist regime crumbled, the lights remained a subject of fascination. Local legends began to form around the sightings, with some even going so far as to suggest that the lights were connected to the forces of good, guiding the people of Prague toward their moment of triumph. Theories ranged from extraterrestrial visitations to spiritual manifestations, with some claiming the lights were the spirits of those who had fought for freedom in the past, now offering their support to those seeking change. The strange lights of the Velvet Revolution remain a part of Czech history, forever linked to a moment of profound transformation. Whether they were a coincidence, a symbol, or something more mysterious, the lights in the sky continue to spark curiosity and wonder. As the peaceful revolution that brought down a regime also ignited a new chapter in the history of Prague, one that will forever be intertwined with the inexplicable. Deep in the forest near Brno, nestled among the towering trees and thick underbrush, lies a stone that has puzzled locals for centuries. Known as the Bílý kámen, or white stone, it rests in quiet isolation, its smooth, pale surface contrasting sharply with the surrounding woodland. While it may appear to be just another natural formation, many who have encountered it speak of an uncanny feeling, as if the stone exudes an aura of ancient power. For generations, tales have circulated among the villagers about the stone's true nature. Some claim that it marks the resting place of an ancient deity, a forgotten guardian of the forest. According to local legends, the stone was once part of a sacred site, where the people of old gathered to worship and commune with their gods. The belief is that the stone, which seems too perfectly shaped to be natural, was placed there by an ancient civilization with knowledge and power long lost to time. Others, more skeptical but still intrigued, propose that the Bílý kámen could be a remnant of some long-forgotten technology. It is said that the stone's unusual placement and smooth surface suggest it might have once been part of a much larger structure, possibly a device or an artifact from a civilization far older than the known history of the region. Could it be a relic of an advanced people, their technology abandoned, forgotten by the passage of time? Some theorize that the stone's unusual characteristics may have been created to harness certain energies, a kind of prehistoric machine left to the whims of nature. The stone's significance is not merely symbolic but also physical. People have reported strange phenomena occurring in its vicinity. Some have felt sudden shifts in temperature when standing near it, while others claim to have seen inexplicable lights or heard eerie sounds emanating from the stone late at night. These reports have led to even more speculation. Perhaps the Bílý kámen is more than just a relic. It could be a portal, an entryway to another realm or dimension. The idea of the stone as a gateway to the unknown has captured the imaginations of many, drawing those with an interest in the supernatural to the forest. Despite its prominence in local folklore, no official investigation has ever been conducted to uncover the true origins of the stone. Its quiet isolation in the woods has preserved its mystery, and perhaps, in a way, this is the way it is meant to remain. Is the Bílý kámen a monument to a lost civilization, or is it a sacred marker placed by ancient hands to honor a forgotten deity? The answer, like the stone itself, is shrouded in the mists of time, waiting for those brave enough to seek its secrets. The Prague astronomical clock, or Prague horloge, has captivated visitors for centuries, with its intricate design and astonishing craftsmanship. Located in the heart of Prague's Old Town, It chimes every hour, drawing crowds to witness its stunning mechanical display. The clock, which dates back to 1410, is a masterpiece of medieval engineering, showcasing the advanced knowledge of its creators. But what if this timepiece was more than just a clock? Could it hold secrets far older, perhaps even of an otherworldly nature? Many believe that the clock, with its astronomical features and elaborate design, may conceal hidden meanings. Its face is not merely a display of time but a representation of celestial movements, mapping the heavens in a way that aligns with ancient traditions of cosmic understanding. The clock's gears and mechanisms, which have withstood the test of time, are so precise that they suggest a knowledge of the stars and the universe that was uncommon for its time. Was this knowledge passed down by ancient civilizations, or could it be the work of more advanced beings from beyond our world? Some conspiracy theorists and UFO enthusiasts point to the clock's remarkable features as evidence of extraterrestrial influence. The intricate symbols on the clock's dial, such as the symbols of the zodiac and the movements of the sun and moon, they could be seen as more than just artistic representations. They might serve as a coded message from visitors not of this earth. The clock's complex movement could even be interpreted as a form of celestial communication, a signal designed to guide or monitor the human race, hidden in plain sight for centuries. There are those who suggest that the clock's design may be a product of a much older, forgotten civilization, one with access to knowledge far beyond what was available in the 15th century. The master clockmaker, Mikuláš of Kadaň, who is credited with creating the mechanism, could have been part of a secretive group, entrusted with safeguarding a technology that was not his own. Some believe that these master artisans may have been influenced or even instructed by beings from distant worlds, their teachings encoded in the clock's mysterious inner workings. As centuries passed, the clock's mechanical movements continued to fascinate, but also raise questions. In the quiet hours of the night, when the square is empty, there are reports of strange sounds and eerie occurrences surrounding the clock. Some visitors claim to feel a presence, a sensation of being watched or guided as they stand before it. Could this be a remnant of a lost knowledge, waiting to be discovered, or perhaps an invitation to unlock secrets that have been hidden from mankind for centuries? While mainstream historians dismiss these theories, the legend of the Prague astronomical clock continues to thrive. For those who believe, it remains a symbol of an ancient connection to the cosmos, a possible device designed not just to measure time, but to record the passage of history and the movements of the stars and perhaps even the visitors who once watched over them. The House of Schwarzenberg, one of the most influential noble families in Bohemia, has long been a symbol of wealth and power. From their grand estates to their political influence, the family's history is intertwined with the rise and fall of empires. Yet, for all their success, there is an unsettling shadow that looms over the family, a curse that has followed them for centuries. Tragic deaths, inexplicable disappearances, and mysterious happenings have plagued the Schwarzenbergs, leading many to wonder whether their misfortune is merely a string of bad luck or the result of something far more sinister. The curse is said to have originated during the 16th century, when a member of the family, Lord Jan Schwarzenberg, was rumored to have committed a dark and forbidden act. It is believed that he crossed paths with powerful, unknown forces, perhaps in his dealings with occult practices or during a time of political treachery. From that point onward, the family seems to have been touched by misfortune, with each generation falling victim to bizarre and tragic events. The most notable instance of the curse's influence occurred in the early 1700s, when the family's heir, Karel Schwarzenberg, disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The young nobleman was last seen near the family estate, only to vanish without a trace. Despite extensive searches and countless rumors, no one ever discovered what happened to him. Some whispered that Karel had been taken by spirits or had fallen victim to dark forces, while others believed he had been sacrificed in a ritual gone wrong. The disappearance of the young heir remains one of the family's greatest unsolved mysteries. Over the centuries, other members of the Schwarzenberg family have met similarly tragic ends. Some died under strange and unexplained circumstances, while others were plagued by illness or misfortune. The family's estates, once grand and prosperous, began to suffer from inexplicable damage and decay, as though the land itself was under a malevolent influence. Even today, the family is said to experience an eerie sense of foreboding whenever they return to their ancestral home, as though the curse still clings to their bloodline. Local legends tell of ghostly figures that roam the halls of Schwarzenberg castles, and mysterious lights that appear in the windows on foggy nights. Some claim to have seen the spirits of long-dead family members, forever bound to the estate by the curse. Others have reported strange sounds echoing through the chambers, as though the walls themselves are trying to tell the story of the family's tragic past. Is it simply a matter of bad luck, or is there something darker at play? The House of Schwarzenberg's history is a labyrinth of intrigue and mystery, where the line between reality and superstition is often blurred. Whether the curse is the result of ancient misdeeds or a malevolent force still lingering in the shadows, the family's fate continues to be a chilling reminder that some legacies come with a price. In the quiet town of Český Krumlov, nestled in the heart of Bohemia, a strange and unsettling tale has been passed down through generations. It revolves around the mayor of the town in the 18th century, a man whose name has since been lost to history but whose inexplicable actions have been recorded in local lore. The mayor, known for his calm demeanor and steady leadership, was found one night in a state of deep sleepwalking, his body moving with a deliberate grace that seemed far from the disorientation typically associated with sleepwalking. But what made this occurrence particularly chilling were the words that poured from his lips during his trance, a series of cryptic prophecies warning of a coming disaster, one that would change the very fabric of life in the region. Those who witnessed the mayor's sleepwalking episode described it as unnerving, even haunting. As he wandered through the streets in the dead of night, his eyes vacant and unseeing, he muttered phrases in a strange, detached tone. "The sky will burn," he reportedly said, "and from the heavens, darkness will fall upon us all." Another of his prophecies spoke of great fires and silver birds that would descend from the sky, causing destruction and chaos. No one could understand the meaning of his words, and even those who were familiar with the mayor's character found it difficult to reconcile this bizarre behavior with the man they had known. At the time, sleepwalking was not a phenomenon widely understood, and the townspeople were both frightened and intrigued. Some believed it to be a sign of divine warning, while others whispered that the mayor's actions were a result of a hidden pact he had made with otherworldly forces. What was particularly unsettling was that the prophecies, though vague, seemed to echo events that would occur in the years to come. Strange lights seen in the skies, unexplained fires that ravaged nearby towns, and rumors of mysterious objects descending from the heavens. Many began to wonder if there was something more to the mayor's words, something beyond human comprehension. Could the mayor have been under the influence of extraterrestrial forces, communicating messages from beyond our world? The bizarre nature of his trance and the eerie accuracy of his prophecies led some to entertain the idea that the mayor had been a conduit for something otherworldly. Could the strange silver birds he mentioned have been UFOs, and the sky burning a reference to the atmospheric phenomena witnessed during the time? As time passed, the mayor's sleepwalking episodes ceased, and his prophetic words faded into obscurity. But the mystery of that night in Český Krumlov has lingered. Some believe the mayor's trance was nothing more than the ramblings of a sleep-deprived man, while others continue to search for meaning in his words, convinced that something supernatural, or perhaps extraterrestrial, was at play. Even today, the tale serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes the line between the known and the unknown is far thinner than we care to admit. High in the secluded peaks of the Moravian Mountains, where mist swirls around jagged rocks and dense forests cloak the land, locals tell of a creature that stalks the shadows, a being that has haunted the region for centuries. The demon of the Moravian Mountains, as it is known, is said to appear only to those who venture too far into forbidden realms of knowledge, those who seek answers to questions best left unasked. This spectral entity is not merely a beast of flesh and bone, but a manifestation of something far darker, something born from the ancient fears that have festered in these mountains for generations. The first recorded encounter with the demon dates back to the medieval period, when a group of scholars, desperate for arcane knowledge, traveled into the mountains to study ancient manuscripts hidden in the ruins of a forgotten temple. They sought knowledge of alchemy, astrology, and magic, believing that uncovering such secrets would grant them power beyond measure. What they found instead was terror. As the story goes, each scholar, one by one, disappeared without a trace, leaving behind only strange markings carved into the rocks, as if something had been clawing at the earth itself. The surviving members of the group, who fled in panic, spoke of a shadowy figure that stalked their every step, its eyes burning with an unnatural light, its presence a heavy weight upon their souls. It was a creature that seemed to feed on their curiosity, growing stronger with each question they asked, each mystery they unraveled. As the centuries passed, tales of the demon's existence grew more elaborate. Some say it appears as a monstrous, hulking figure with glowing red eyes and jagged teeth, a demon formed from the very nightmares of those who dare to probe the ancient unknown. Others speak of it as a formless shadow, an entity that distorts reality itself, leading travelers to lose their way, causing them to wander endlessly through the mountains until they are consumed by the fear of their own thoughts. It is said that the demon's power lies not in brute strength, but in its ability to twist the mind, to plant doubts and fears so deep within the heart that the victim is driven to madness. Those few who claim to have encountered the demon and survived often speak of a strange presence, an overwhelming feeling of dread that fills the previous air, an icy chill that descends upon the mountainside just before it appears. Some claim to have heard whispers in the wind, voices that speak of lost souls and forgotten truths. Others say they were paralyzed with fear, unable to move or cry out as the creature's eyes locked onto them, as if it were probing their deepest thoughts. Whether the demon is an actual supernatural entity or a reflection of the region's ancient fears and superstitions remains a matter of debate. Some believe it is a manifestation of the collective anxiety of the mountain's inhabitants, a symbol of the consequences of delving too deeply into forbidden knowledge. Others maintain that the creature is very real, a being summoned by the dark forces that linger in the mountains, waiting for those who dare to seek out the truths hidden in the shadows. Whatever its true nature, the demon of the Moravian Mountains continues to lurk in the dark corners of the region, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lie in the pursuit of knowledge. Beneath the grandeur of Prague Castle, hidden deep within its ancient foundations, lie vaults that have been the subject of whispered legends for centuries. These cryptic chambers, tucked away in the shadows of the castle's historic walls, are said to house treasures and relics, some believe to possess power beyond comprehension. But the vaults have remained locked, their contents a mystery, sparking intrigue and fear among those who dare to seek the truth. What is hidden in the dark recesses of Prague Castle? Are these vaults filled with the riches of forgotten rulers, or do they conceal something far more unsettling? The history of the Prague Castle vaults is as enigmatic as the very structure of the castle itself. Some say they were built during the reign of Emperor Charles IV, their purpose known only to a select few. These chambers, concealed beneath layers of stone and earth, were thought to be used for storing royal treasures, sacred objects, and perhaps even arcane artifacts. But as the centuries passed, the vaults became increasingly elusive, and any record of their contents disappeared from official history. The few who have ventured into the lower levels of the castle speak of an oppressive silence that hangs in the air, the sense of something ancient and untouched waiting to be uncovered. In the 16th century, rumors began to swirl about the vaults. It was said that the treasures hidden within were not just material wealth, but items of great mystical significance. Some believed that relics of the early Christian church, perhaps even the Holy Grail itself, were buried in these vaults, protected by layers of secrecy and traps. Others whispered of the alchemical texts and arcane symbols hidden away, left by the great minds who once sought knowledge beyond the limits of time and space. These vaults were no mere storage chambers. They were, according to some, the final resting place of knowledge that had been deliberately concealed from the world. In more recent years, as restoration projects have taken place within the castle grounds, sporadic reports have surfaced of unusual discoveries. In 2003, during an excavation, workers uncovered what appeared to be an old stone door, its surface etched with strange symbols. The discovery was immediately sealed off, and no further information was released to the public. Was this the entrance to one of the long-forgotten vaults, or was it simply an ancient cellar? No one knows for sure, but the mystery persists. The legend of the Prague castle vaults continues to intrigue historians, treasure hunters, and even paranormal investigators. Some claim that the vaults are more than just physical chambers. They are portals to a deeper layer of history, a place where the boundaries between the past and the present blur. Could the vaults be guarding something far more profound than mere gold and jewels? Could they hold secrets tied to Prague's spiritual and mystical past, waiting for the right moment to be revealed? While the true contents of the vaults remain a mystery, the whispers surrounding them persist, adding to the allure and mystique of Prague Castle. What lies beneath the surface is anyone's guess. But one thing is certain: the vaults hold secrets that time has yet to uncover. Deep in the shadowed forests of the Czech Republic, where the trees stretch high and the earth is thick with secrets, there are whispers of an ancient force known only as the Black Sun. The stories that surround this mysterious entity have been passed down through generations, shrouded in darkness and steeped in fear. Those who speak of it say that it is no mere legend, but a presence that has been felt and feared in the remote corners of the country for centuries. What is the Black Sun? Is it a relic from an ancient time, a myth born of superstition, or something much darker, lurking just beyond the veil of reality? The origins of the Black Sun are as elusive as the force itself. Some claim it is tied to the Celtic and pre-Christian rituals that once thrived in the region, a symbol of both power and destruction. In the ancient days, the sun was worshipped as a god, a powerful entity that brought both life and death. But the Black Sun, according to these tales, represents something far more sinister, a dark counterpart to the life-giving sun, a force that could bring about ruin if summoned. Over time, the Black Sun became associated with forbidden rites, rituals meant to invoke its power for dark purposes. It was believed that those who sought the Black Sun's favor would pay a heavy price, for it was not a gift given lightly. The most chilling stories of the Black Sun come from the heart of the forests, where small villages have long been haunted by the legacy of dark rituals. In these remote areas, people speak of strange symbols carved into trees, of eerie sounds that echo through the woods at night, and of sightings of figures cloaked in shadow, standing beneath an unnatural, pulsating light. According to some, the Black Sun is not just a symbol or a myth, but a tangible force that manifests itself in moments of great darkness, appearing to those who are brave or foolish enough to seek it out. These rituals, often linked to the occult, have been said to open a gateway, allowing the Black Sun to influence the living world. Even more disturbing are the reports of strange happenings connected to the Black Sun. Villagers in the Czech countryside recall instances of sudden disappearances, people who venture into the forest in search of the Black Sun and never return. Others tell of families who, after encountering the black sun, are struck by inexplicable misfortune, crops failing, animals dying, and loved ones falling ill. Is it a curse, or is there something else at work? The legend of the black sun continues to haunt the Czech landscape, a reminder of the ancient forces that once ruled these lands. Some believe it is simply a myth, a tale to keep children in line or to explain the unexplainable. But for those who have encountered it, whether through stories or strange experiences of their own, the black sun is no mere superstition. It is a presence that lingers in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. What it truly is, and what it desires, remains one of the greatest mysteries of Czech folklore, an enigma wrapped in darkness. In the rolling hills and deep valleys of Bohemia, there are villages that were once vibrant, full of life, and then without warning vanished into the mist. These villages, now reduced to nothing but empty fields, forgotten roads, and dilapidated buildings, leave behind only questions. What happened to the people who once called these places home? Was it a sudden exodus, an unforeseen disaster, or something far more inexplicable, something that defies all logic? The stories vary, but all are cloaked in mystery. Some speak of entire villages being abandoned overnight. The houses, still furnished, the hearths cold, and the streets deserted as if the people had simply vanished into thin air. No trace of their departure remains, not a single footstep leading away. It's as though the villagers were swept away by an invisible force, leaving behind their livelihoods, their families, and their homes without explanation. Others believe it was a great catastrophe that caused the villagers to flee. There are tales of sudden and violent storms, of terrible fires, and of strange, unexplainable occurrences, things that shook the very ground beneath their feet. Some speak of a dark omen, a shadow that passed over the village, casting an air of foreboding that no one could shake. The villagers, unable to comprehend the unnatural forces at play, packed up and left, abandoning their once thriving homes. But why leave everything behind? Why not simply rebuild? These are questions that have no answers, only theories. Perhaps the most unsettling accounts point to something more supernatural in nature. In these villages, some claim that time itself bends in peculiar ways. Locals and travelers alike speak of strange sightings, a glimpse of a house or a figure in the distance, only to have it vanish before their eyes. Some claim to hear voices on the wind, the faint echoes of the long-gone villagers calling out to them. Others report strange apparitions, figures that appear and disappear as if trapped in another time. Could the villages be stuck between worlds, their inhabitants lost to some unknown fate? The land itself seems to hold secrets, as if it remembers the life once there, but has swallowed it whole, keeping it hidden from the world. These vanishing villages have become little more than ghostly whispers in the wind, scattered across the Bohemian countryside, remnants of a history erased. No records exist to explain their fate, only fragmented legends, passed from one generation to the next, and the lingering question of whether the answers will ever come to light. In the end, the vanishing villages of Bohemia remain an enduring mystery. What truly happened to the people who lived there? Was it a tragedy, a flight, or something more bizarre tied to the very land they inhabited? Whatever the answer, these empty villages continue to haunt the landscape, their stories waiting to be uncovered. If only the veil between the past and the present could be lifted. Atop the hill, Vyšehrad stands as a silent sentinel, watching over Prague with an air of ancient mystery. Its towering walls and grand gates have seen centuries of history unfold. But beneath its stone facade, there are whispers of something far older, something more profound than a simple fortress. The spirits of soldiers, long since passed from this world, are said to still walk the grounds, their footsteps echoing through the quiet halls, guarding the city that lies below. But are these the souls of men who perished in battle, Or do they serve a greater, darker purpose that no one truly understands? The tales of Vyšehrad's haunted past are as old as the fortress itself. Local legends speak of soldiers who, bound by an unspoken oath, continue their eternal vigil, standing guard against forces beyond human comprehension. Some say they appear as phantoms in the mist, their outlines barely visible against the ruins, marching tirelessly along the battlements. Others report hearing distant, mournful cries carried on the wind, the last words of men who died defending their home. It's a story that has endured for generations, passed down as part of Prague's deep, storied history. But what if these soldiers are not just guarding against invaders, not just the remnants of warriors from forgotten wars? Some believe these restless spirits are keepers of a far greater secret, one hidden beneath Vyšehrad's ancient stones. For centuries, it has been rumored that the fortress holds something more than just the remnants of war. Some say it hides artifacts, relics, or knowledge that could change the very course of history. Could the soldiers' restless souls be bound to protect these secrets, their duty extending beyond the mortal realm? There are those who claim that Vyšehrad has been a place of great power for centuries, an ancient stronghold for kings, warriors, and mystics alike. The legends speak of hidden chambers deep within the fortress, where treasures and relics from a time long past lie waiting to be uncovered. Perhaps it is these relics, these lost fragments of an ancient civilization, that the soldiers protect, unwilling to let the world discover what lies beneath. As the sun sets over the city, the fortress casts long shadows across the land, its imposing silhouette a constant reminder of the past. The soldiers' spirits, it seems, are still there, watching, waiting, bound to their duty for eternity. Whether they are merely the souls of men who fought and died for their city, or if they are something more, guarding a secret that stretches back through time, remains a question that continues to intrigue those who stand before Vyšehrad. The fortress may be silent, but the whispers of its past, of those who stand watch even in death, are never far from the surface. The Charles Bridge, a masterpiece of Gothic architecture, stretches over the Vltava River, connecting the old town with the lesser quarter. Built in the 14th century, it has withstood centuries of storms, revolutions, and countless human lives crossing its stones. But beneath its majestic arches and intricate statues lies a darker history, one whispered among the locals for generations. Many believe the bridge carries a curse, one that afflicts those who dare cross it during certain times of the day or night. The legend of the Prague Bridge's curse is tied to its violent history. Throughout the years, it has been the site of numerous battles, executions, and tragic events. Some say the spirits of the wronged still linger, their restless souls waiting to claim those who dare disturb their eternal vigil. It is said that if you cross the bridge at the stroke of midnight, the spirits grow restless, and those who tread upon the cobblestones may feel a cold chill, a hand upon their shoulder, or hear whispers calling them from the shadows. Travelers claim to have seen figures in dark cloaks standing at the far end, only for them to disappear when approached. But the curse is not limited to the night. Some say that if you cross the bridge at dusk, when the sky casts its final golden glow, the curse is even stronger. That is when the spirits are most active, roaming between the statues, their mournful gazes following every step. The eerie silence of the bridge at dusk, broken only by the sound of your footsteps, feels like a place suspended between worlds. It's during these moments that visitors report the strangest experiences. Some have heard footsteps behind them, only to turn around and find the bridge empty. Others claim to have felt as though they were being watched by unseen eyes, a presence too close yet too far to identify. It is said that the curse also claims those who cross the bridge for reasons steeped in ill intentions. Those who seek to cross for vengeance or greed may find themselves lost, wandering the bridge without end. Some have claimed to feel the heavy weight of the bridge's past pushing down on them, making each step more difficult, as if the bridge itself resists the intentions of the crossing. The few who have spoken openly of their experiences often speak of an overwhelming sense of dread or a sudden, inexplicable desire to leave the bridge before reaching the end. Though skeptics dismiss these stories as mere superstition, there is no denying the strange, otherworldly feeling that lingers on the bridge at certain moments. Its stones, weathered by centuries of history, hold more than just the echoes of the past. They carry the weight of countless souls and the curse of a bridge that has seen it all. And for those brave enough to walk its length, the question remains: will the bridge let you pass unscathed, or will it claim another soul to add to its dark legend? The Bohemian Knights, a secretive order said to have flourished during the medieval period, remained shrouded in mystery. Little is known about their true nature, and their very existence has been debated for centuries. But one thing is certain: they were guardians of something powerful, something ancient, a secret artifact whose name has long been whispered in the dark corners of Prague's history. No trace of it has ever been found, yet the stories continue to captivate the imagination of those who delve into the city's hidden past. According to legend, the Bohemian Knights were a group of noble warriors, sworn to protect an artifact of immense power. This object, some say, was a relic from a time long before the knights themselves, a piece of forgotten history that could change the course of civilizations. Descriptions of the artifact vary. Some believe it was an ancient manuscript, others a stone imbued with mystical properties, and still others claim it was a relic connected to the very origins of the city itself, an object of such power that it could alter reality or open gateways to realms beyond. Whatever it was said to hold knowledge too dangerous to be revealed. Over the years, rumors about the Knights' secret society have woven their way through the city's streets. It is said that they met in hidden chambers beneath Prague Castle, far from the eyes of the public. Their rituals were conducted in secrecy, with only a select few knowing the true purpose of the order. They were thought to be protectors, not just of the artifact, but of Prague's deeper mysteries, those that lay buried beneath the city's layers of history, waiting to be unearthed. What happened to the Bohemian Knights, however, remains unclear. Some say they were disbanded after the artifact was stolen by a rival faction. Others believe they went underground, disappearing into the shadows of history to avoid detection by the church or the crown. But the one thing that remains consistent is the fact that the artifact they guarded has never been found. Despite countless searches, no trace of it has ever surfaced. Some say it was hidden so well that even the most skilled archaeologists cannot uncover its resting place. Others believe it was never meant to be found, its secrets locked away to prevent its dangerous power from being misused. The absence of any concrete evidence only fuels the mystery surrounding the Bohemian Knights and their artifact. Could it have been a mere legend, a fantastical tale spun to captivate the minds of the curious? Or did the Knights indeed exist, and their artifact, still hidden in the heart of Prague, hold the key to a long-forgotten chapter of history? The city, with its twisting streets and ancient buildings, still holds its breath, guarding the secrets of those who came before. And perhaps, buried deep within its walls, the answer waits to be discovered by those brave enough to seek it. In the winding streets of 16th-century Prague, there was a clockmaker whose name would eventually fade into legend. His workshop, nestled near the heart of the city, was filled with the rhythmic ticking of intricate timepieces, each one more remarkable than the last. But it wasn't his craftsmanship that set him apart, it was his uncanny ability to predict the future, something that would come to define his place in history. The clockmaker, known only by a few who dared to whisper his name, was said to have the gift of foresight. It wasn't just the turn of the hour he could predict. Over time, he began to speak of events that no one could foresee, wars that would alter the course of empires, the fall of monarchs, the rise of strange new powers, and the dramatic shifts in the world order. Each of his predictions came true with terrifying precision, sending ripples of unease through those who knew of them. Many came to seek his counsel, but few left with answers that satisfied their curiosity. Instead, they were left with an unsettling feeling, as if the very fabric of time had been altered by his words. But what made his prophecies so disturbing wasn't just their accuracy, it was the sense that his knowledge came from a source far beyond human understanding. Whispers began to spread that he was no ordinary man, that his abilities were not simply the result of a sharp mind, but were the product of something far more mysterious. Some believed he had made contact with beings not of this earth, extraterrestrial entities who had shared with him knowledge that was beyond the comprehension of mere mortals. Strangely, these rumors persisted, even after the clockmaker's death. Some said that his prophecies were written down in coded language, hidden within the inner workings of his clocks, waiting for someone to decode them. Others believed his predictions had been linked to the very passage of time itself, as though he had tapped into a deeper, cosmic rhythm, a force beyond the reach of ordinary men. As time went on, the clockmaker's legacy only grew more mysterious. In the years following his death, Prague witnessed the rise and fall of empires, strange shifts in global power, and the emergence of technologies that seemed to defy explanation. Could it be that his warnings had been more than mere coincidence? Had he, in fact, been an oracle who had glimpsed the future, guided by forces not of this world? Today, the clockmaker's shop no longer stands, but some claim that if you wander the streets of Prague at midnight, when the air is thick with history, you can still hear the faint tick-tock of his clocks echoing in the distance. And perhaps, just perhaps, the answers to his strange prophecies still lie hidden within the very heartbeat of the city, waiting to be unlocked by those daring enough to seek them out. The Moravian Gate, a once bustling trade route connecting lands and people, now stands as a quiet passage through the rolling hills of the Czech Republic. But beneath its peaceful exterior, whispers of ancient legends still echo among those who know its hidden past. For centuries, the region was a vital link between East and West, a place where merchants traded goods and ideas, where armies marched, and where travelers crossed paths. Yet, it is not the stories of commerce and war that have endured, but the strange, mysterious tales of what lies beneath the surface of this forgotten route. Some believe that the Moravian Gate is not merely a geographical feature but a threshold, a boundary between our world and another. The region has long been associated with the supernatural, with stories of otherworldly beings crossing through the gates of the earth itself. Local folklore speaks of travelers who vanished without a trace, their fates forever tied to the gate's dark allure. There are accounts of people who, while passing through the valley, were said to have glimpsed visions of alternate realities, strange lands, twisted skies, and beings that seemed both human and not. In these stories, the Moravian Gate becomes more than just a passage. It transforms into a doorway to realms unknown, where time and space bend in inexplicable ways. For centuries, the gate has been shrouded in mystery, its true nature lost to time. Ancient texts hint at rituals performed in the region, ceremonies that sought to open the gate and commune with forces beyond comprehension. Some believe that these practices were intended to summon powers from other dimensions, to harness the energies that lie hidden within the earth. There are those who claim that the gate was never truly closed, that the veil between worlds remains thin, and that it is only a matter of time before the balance is disturbed once more. The strange occurrences continue to this day. Those who travel through the Moravian Gate speak of an odd, lingering feeling, an unnerving sensation as if they are not entirely alone. The landscape, though beautiful, carries an air of unease, as if the ground beneath is holding on to secrets it is unwilling to share. Some claim to have seen fleeting figures on the horizon, glimpses of people who should not be there, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. Others tell of eerie sounds, voices in the wind, whispers just out of reach, as if something is trying to communicate from the other side. Is the Moravian Gate truly a gateway to another dimension? Or is it simply the product of centuries of superstition and myth? The truth may never be known, but the legends persist, haunting the valley like the shadows of a forgotten past. In the stillness of the night, when the air grows thick with history, one cannot help but wonder what lies beyond the gate, waiting to be discovered. For centuries, Saint Wenceslas, the patron saint of Bohemia, has been a symbol of faith, courage, and hope for the people of the Czech lands. His legacy, though enshrined in history and revered in religious texts, takes on an eerie form during times of great unrest. Throughout the ages, there have been numerous reports of his apparition appearing to those who are suffering or facing dire circumstances. The question that arises, are these visions truly the saint himself, a divine messenger, or something more deeply embedded in the region's ancient history? The earliest accounts of Saint Wenceslas's apparition date back to moments of political turmoil, moments when the Czech people felt vulnerable, their land on the brink of destruction. It was during the Hussite Wars, when religious conflict raged through Bohemia, that many claimed to have seen the figure of Saint Wenceslas, cloaked in royal robes, his face serene but filled with the wisdom of ages. They described him as a beacon of calm amidst the chaos, as though his presence alone could steady the hearts of those who looked upon him. Some of these encounters have been reported by soldiers in the thick of battle, who claim to have seen the saint appear before them on the field, his hand raised in a gesture of protection. Others speak of the saint riding his horse through the fog that often envelops Prague at night, his silhouette barely visible yet undeniable. The figure is said to pause, offering a quiet blessing, and then vanish into the mist, leaving behind only the unmistakable sensation that something profound has just transpired. Local legends persist that these manifestations are tied to the very land itself, not simply to the saint's divine intervention. Could these apparitions be linked to ancient pagan rites that predate Saint Wenceslas's time? The Czech people, with their rich pre-Christian history, revered figures of power and protection, and some believe that the spirit of Wenceslas may have become intertwined with older deities whose energies still linger in the land. His image, noble and powerful, might have drawn upon these deep-rooted traditions to offer hope, even after centuries. But there is something unsettling about these apparitions. They often appear when the region is at its lowest, when hope is scarce, and faith in the future seems fragile. Could Saint Wenceslas be a spiritual manifestation, responding to the collective fear of his people? Or is his appearance a manifestation of the land's history, responding to the cries of those who seek protection from the unknown? In the hushed corners of Prague, when the moon is high and the streets empty, whispers of Saint Wenceslas still persist. The apparition of the saint has not faded with time. Instead, it has woven itself into the very fabric of the Czech soul, a reminder that, in times of darkness, even the smallest glimmer of light can change the course of history. Every 50 years, a peculiar lunar phenomenon graces the skies over the Czech plains, one that has mystified observers for generations. It is not the usual phases of the moon that fascinate the locals, but the unusual way in which the lunar light interacts with the landscape below. The moon, when it reaches its zenith, seems to glow with an unnatural intensity, casting long, eerie shadows across the fields. The phenomenon is brief, lasting only a few days, but it has left an indelible mark on those who have witnessed it. The first recorded mention of this lunar event dates back to the 12th century, when monks in the Bohemian countryside documented a strange occurrence during one particularly bright harvest moon. According to their accounts, the moon seemed to pulse with a rhythmic light, illuminating the landscape in a way that was almost otherworldly. Some of the monks spoke of seeing figures or shapes moving across the plains, shadows that seemed to take on a life of their own. The event was dismissed by many as a figment of imagination or the product of a mystical fervor, but it set the stage for centuries of speculation. In the centuries that followed, stories of similar lunar occurrences would surface, each with its own peculiarities. The phenomenon would appear every 50 years, never on the same night or under the same conditions, but always accompanied by strange reports from those who witnessed it. Some claimed to have seen mysterious lights in the sky during the nights leading up to the event, while others spoke of hearing a faint hum, as if the moon itself was somehow alive. Local folklore began to weave these sightings into tales of ancient alien encounters, suggesting that the phenomenon was not a natural occurrence at all, but rather a signal or message from another world. Skeptics have long argued that the event is nothing more than a rare, yet entirely natural, the alignment of the moon's position and the atmospheric conditions that amplify its light. The phenomenon, they say, could be linked to specific lunar eclipses, or perhaps the way the light from the moon interacts with the flat plains of the Czech countryside. Yet, even the most rational explanations cannot account for the consistency of the phenomenon, how it reappears every 50 years, with the same strange patterns, and how it seems to leave behind a lingering sense of awe and unease in those who witness it. Could it be that this lunar phenomenon is linked to something far older, something hidden beneath the earth of the Czech plains? Perhaps ancient civilizations once used this event as a marker, a signal of something far beyond the reaches of modern understanding. Some believe that the phenomenon is tied to alien encounters, an event that has occurred across the centuries but has been forgotten or hidden from view. Others insist that it is a remnant of a forgotten era, a time when the moon's glow held power over the land and its people. Whatever the explanation, the mystery of the lunar phenomenon persists, woven into the fabric of the Czech plains, like a secret waiting to be uncovered. As the next occurrence approaches, the air grows thick with anticipation, and once again, the question lingers. Could this event truly be linked to ancient alien encounters, or is it simply the rare, enigmatic alignment of nature's own rhythms? Only time will tell. On misty nights, when the moonlight barely pierces the thick fog that clings to the Vltava River in Prague, a spectral ship is said to glide silently along its waters. Witnesses claim to have seen it drifting just beyond the reach of light, its dark form barely discernible against the water's surface. The eerie vessel is often described as old-fashioned, with tattered sails and a rotting hull, as though it has long since passed out of time, trapped between the worlds of the living and the dead. Its ghostly crew, some say, are the lost souls of Prague's forgotten kings, doomed to sail the river forever, unable to find peace. The first recorded sighting of the ghost ship dates back to the 17th century. According to local legend, a nobleman who had been walking along the river's edge one foggy evening was startled by the sight of a ship drifting upstream, despite there being no wind to fill its sails. As it passed, the man could make out the pale faces of the crew, their hollow eyes fixed on him, as though they were waiting for something or someone. The nobleman fled in terror, but he was not the only one. Over the following decades, more sightings were reported, often by sailors who claimed to have seen the ship appear and disappear without warning, its form shimmering in and out of the mist as though it were a mirage. Some said it sailed with a crew of ghosts. Others believed the ship was a harbinger of death, foretelling misfortune to those who crossed its path. Some tales suggest that the ship is tied to the spirits of the city's lost kings, whose lives were marked by violence and betrayal. It is said that the ship carries the souls of these rulers who, in life, were responsible for unspeakable acts, perhaps even steering the course of history through their bloodshed. As punishment for their sins, their restless spirits are doomed to navigate the river's winding course for eternity, seeking redemption that will never come. The spectral ship's appearance is often seen as a warning, an omen that something terrible is about to unfold. Those who have encountered it claim that a sense of impending doom fills the air whenever it appears, as if the very river is holding its breath, waiting for something dark to transpire. But what of those who dare to follow the ship? A handful of brave souls, drawn by the allure of the mystery, have claimed to chase it down, only to find that it vanishes into thin air. One moment it is there, its tattered sails ghostly in the mist, and the next, it is gone, swallowed by the river or absorbed into the fog. Many who have ventured too close speak of strange coldness, disorienting sensations, and whispers carried on the breeze. Words that cannot be understood, yet are felt deeply. The truth behind the ghost ship remains elusive, lost to time like the stories of the kings it may carry. Some say it is merely a myth, a tale to scare children, while others believe it holds the keys to a darker past. Whatever the reality, the ship continues to haunt the Vltava River, sailing through Prague's fog-covered nights, a spectral reminder that some secrets may never be uncovered. In the rolling hills of Moravia, where ancient forests meet quiet villages, there once lived a woman known simply as the Oracle. Her name has been lost to time, but her prophecies, whispered among the people, remain etched in the history of the region. She was said to possess the rare ability to see into the future, her visions striking with an accuracy that both awed and terrified those who heard them. The Oracle, who had no formal education and lived a humble life, began predicting events with unsettling precision, from the rise and fall of leaders to the natural disasters that would strike the land. Her most famous prophecy, though, was one that still resonates with those who believe in her gifts. In the early 1700s, she foretold of a great famine that would sweep through the region, its hunger so vast that even the wealthiest families would not be spared. People dismissed her words at first, as they often did with her many predictions. But when the crops failed and the harvests withered, her prophecy came to be feared. Not only did the famine arrive with horrifying inevitability, but the oracle had even predicted the exact locations of the worst devastation, down to the villages that would suffer the most. Those who had once mocked her now looked upon her with a mixture of awe and dread. As time passed, her prophecies continued to unfold with chilling accuracy. She spoke of wars, of political upheaval, and of strange, unnatural occurrences that would bring change to the world. Each prediction seemed more impossible than the last, yet all came true. Some began to wonder if she was truly gifted, or if something more mysterious lay behind her uncanny foresight. Was she the product of deep intuition, or was she being influenced by something unseen, an ancient force or an otherworldly entity pulling the strings of fate? Despite the fear she inspired, the oracle remained a figure of respect in Moravia. People from far and wide traveled to seek her guidance, hoping for answers to their most pressing questions. And though her prophecies were often dark, she would offer solace to those in need, speaking of hope even in the darkest of times. But there were whispers that the oracle herself was not fully in control of her visions. Some claimed she had been visited by strange beings during her dreams, beings who spoke to her in a language only she could understand. Others believed she had made a pact with forces beyond the earthly realm, and her prophecies were the result of a supernatural bargain. As the years went on, the oracle vanished from public view. Some say she simply disappeared, walking into the forest one day and never returning. Others believe that her time had run out, that her connection to the unknown forces that had guided her was severed, and she faded away, leaving nothing but the eerie accuracy of her words behind. Whatever the truth may be, the prophecies of the Moravian oracle continue to echo through history, leaving a legacy of mystery and intrigue, and raising the question, was she truly a gifted seer, or was there something darker at play, guiding her every word? In the turbulent chaos of the 30 Years' War, amidst the battles that ravaged Europe, one soldier from the Czech town of Hradec Králové became the subject of an eerie tale that has been passed down through generations. During a particularly brutal skirmish, where the fate of the town teetered on the brink of destruction, this soldier vanished without a trace. No one saw him fall, nor did they find his body in the aftermath. He simply disappeared, as though swallowed by the earth itself, leaving only his comrades and the enemy forces baffled. What followed, however, is what has cemented his place in the annals of legend. Over the course of the war, several leaders, generals, and soldiers from various factions began to experience strange, vivid dreams. In these dreams, the missing soldier appeared, his figure draped in the tattered uniform of a warrior long lost to history. He would speak of future events with unsettling clarity, foretelling the movements of armies, the fate of key battles, and even the personal tragedies of those who would be involved. His voice, soft yet commanding, offered both guidance and warnings, urging leaders to take actions that would shape the outcome of the war. At first, these dreams were dismissed as the ramblings of men worn down by the horrors of war, their minds fractured by the constant violence. But as the events he spoke of unfolded with uncanny precision, the dreams were no longer seen as mere coincidence. Those who had received his counsel began to believe they had been visited by something far beyond the realms of normal human experience. Some claimed that the soldier was a phantom, a spirit trapped between worlds, unable to move on after his untimely disappearance. Others whispered that he was a manifestation of the land itself, sent to guide those who would fight for its survival. His messages, though cryptic, always contained an undeniable sense of purpose. They spoke of hope in moments of despair, of strategies that seemed to defy logic but led to unexpected victories. He became a figure of myth, a symbol of the deep connection between the land and its people, watching over them even in death. What remains unclear, however, is whether the soldier truly existed at all, or if he was a creation of the collective fears and hopes of those who fought alongside him. Was he a ghost, a time traveler, or simply the product of a weary mind trying to make sense of an incomprehensible war? Some believed that his guidance was not merely supernatural but the product of a deeper, almost mystical understanding of fate and destiny, one that transcended the bounds of mortal life. To this day, the story of the vanishing soldier of Hradec Králové endures, a haunting reminder of the strange forces that may have guided history, leaving behind only the echo of his presence in the dreams of those who dared to listen. Whether a phantom or something more, his legacy remains forever entwined with the events of the 30 Years' War. As the stories unfold, stretching across centuries of intrigue, one truth becomes increasingly evident. The mysteries of Czech history may not lie in the vastness of the cosmos or in the ancient forgotten ruins scattered across the land, but deep within the very fabric of the land itself. The bizarre phenomena, the strange occurrences, and the whispered legends all seem to converge towards one unspoken conclusion. Czech history may be far more enigmatic than any of us have dared to imagine. Throughout the chapters, we've explored alien encounters that sparked curiosity and wonder, the secrets of ancient rituals whispered by those in the know, and figures shrouded in mystery whose very existence challenges the boundaries of the known world. From spectral apparitions to supernatural forces that seem to shape the course of time, the Czech lands have long been a stage for events that defy logical explanation. But what if, after all the searching through distant stars and mythical stories, the true answers lie not in the heavens but buried beneath the ground that has witnessed it all? The Czech Republic, with its hidden forests, shadowed castles, and labyrinthine tunnels, holds more than just the bones of its past. Beneath the surface, both literally and metaphorically, there are untold secrets waiting to be uncovered, ancient technologies, forgotten civilizations, and perhaps even the lost knowledge of those who once walked this land, far before our time. These stories of ancient beings, strange lights, and unexplained prophecies might not be as far removed from the physical world as we think. Could it be that the answers we seek are hidden within the earth itself, passed down from a civilization that once had the keys to the mysteries of life, the cosmos, and even the unknown forces that guide us? In the stillness of the Czech countryside, there are whispers of underground chambers, lost relics, and artifacts that speak of a time before the written word. A a time when beings far beyond our comprehension walked this very land. Could the strange figures that have haunted these lands for centuries be messengers from a past civilization trying to reveal what was lost? Could the very soil hold memories of those who once unlocked the secrets of the universe, only for that knowledge to be buried under layers of time, waiting for the right moment to surface? Perhaps the final revelation isn't as grand or as distant as we have imagined. Perhaps the answers are not waiting for us in the stars, but in the very heart of Czech history itself. The true story of this land, with its strange mysteries and cryptic prophecies, lies not in the skies above, but beneath our feet, woven into the ancient earth, hidden in plain sight. It is only a matter of time before those with the courage to look deep enough begin to uncover the truths that have long been buried, and when they do, we may find that the most extraordinary revelations have always been within reach, just waiting to be unearthed.